In the grand halls of art history, some names echo through time, while others are whispered, almost lost to the shadows. Today, we bring one of those whispers into the light. This is the story of Camille Claudel, a sculptor of breathtaking genius whose passion, talent, and tragedy were as deeply carved as the marble she commanded. Born in 1864 in a small town in northern France, Camille showed an extraordinary gift for sculpture from a very young age. While other children played, she was in the mud, shaping the earth with an innate understanding of form and emotion. Her family, particularly her father Louis Prosper, recognized her prodigious talent and supported her ambition, a rare thing for a young woman in the 19th century who wished to pursue a career in the arts. At just 17, filled with dreams and determination, Camille moved to Paris with her mother and siblings. The prestigious École des Beaux-Arts, the pinnacle of artistic education, was closed to women. Undeterred, she enrolled at the Académie Colarossi, one of the few private art schools that accepted female students. There, she and a group of other young women sculptors rented a studio, a bold move that defied convention. They hired a mentor to guide them, the respected sculptor Alfred Boucher. One day, fate intervened. Boucher was awarded the Prix de Rome, a prestigious scholarship that required him to move to Italy. Before leaving, he asked a friend to take over the instruction of his promising students. That friend was none other than Auguste Rodin, already a towering figure in the art world. The moment Rodin saw Camille's work, he was astounded. He recognized a power, a raw talent that mirrored his own, yet was uniquely hers. And when he met the young artist herself, a fierce, intelligent, and passionate woman, a connection was instantly forged. In 1884, Camille Claudel, at just 19 years old, entered Rodin's studio, not just as a student, but as an apprentice, a collaborator, and soon his muse. Their relationship was a crucible of creativity and passion. They were inseparable. Camille wasn't just mixing plaster or chipping away at rough blocks of marble for Rodin's projects. She was a vital artistic force in his workshop. It's widely believed she contributed significantly to some of his most famous works, like The Gates of Hell and The Burghers of Calais. Her hands, her ideas, her spirit were intertwined with his. But Camille was never meant to be a mere assistant. She was a master in her own right. During this period, she created some of her most powerful and celebrated sculptures. Works like The Waltz, a swirling, dynamic depiction of a dancing couple, so sensuous that it was initially deemed too scandalous for a state commission without modification. Or The Mature Age, a gut-wrenching autobiographical triptych showing a man being led away from a conge, pleading younger woman by an older one, a raw, painful allegory of her life with Rodin and his long-term partner, Rose Buret. Her sculptures were not just technically brilliant, they were emotionally profound. She had a unique ability to capture the fleeting moments of human experience, the vulnerability, the desire, the despair. She used difficult materials, like onyx and marble, with a sensitivity and daring that few could match. She was forging her own path, developing a style that was distinct from Rodin's, full of psychological depth and narrative power. However, the art world was not ready for a female genius of her caliber. Critics often dismissed her work, viewing it only through the lens of her relationship with Rodin. They called her his pupil or his imitator, refusing to see the originality and brilliance that was uniquely hers. Professionally, she was trapped in his shadow. Personally, she was trapped in a love that could never be fully hers. After nearly a decade, the intense and tumultuous relationship began to fracture. Camille desperately wanted a life with Rodin, a commitment he was unwilling or unable to give. The constant emotional turmoil, coupled with the professional frustration of being constantly compared to him, became unbearable. In 1892, their affair ended. The separation was not a clean break, but a long, painful tearing apart. Devastated but determined, Camille tried to establish herself as an independent artist. She moved into her own studio and poured all her pain and fury into her work. This period gave birth to masterpieces like The Gossips, which depicted four women whispering, a poignant commentary on the society that scrutinized her every move, and The Wave, where she used precious onyx marble to create a dynamic, almost narrative scene, pushing the boundaries of sculpture. But independence was a brutal struggle. She faced financial hardship, isolation, and constant rejection from the male-dominated art establishment. State commissions, the lifeblood of the sculptor, were few and far between. Her early supporter, her father, was her rock, her one unwavering source of belief and financial help. But in 1913, that rock crumbled. Her father passed away, and Camille lost her staunchest ally. Her family, particularly her mother and brother Paul, who never fully approved of her lifestyle or her art, made a devastating decision. Less than a week after her father's funeral, and without her knowledge, they had her committed to a psychiatric asylum. Camille Claudel, the brilliant sculptor, was diagnosed with paranoia. She was 48 years old. For the next 30 years, she would be confined. 30 years. Letters from the asylum show a woman who was lucid, desperate, and fully aware of her situation. She pleaded for her freedom, writing heart-wrenching letters to her brother and others, begging to be released. She wrote of her loneliness, of the creative fire that was being extinguished. She wrote, "I have fallen into an abyss." During her 3 decades of confinement, she never sculpted again. It is said that before she was taken away, in a fit of paranoia and despair, she destroyed nearly all the work in her studio. Plaster models, sketches, finished pieces, a lifetime of genius smashed to pieces. The doctors at the asylum repeatedly recommended her release, stating she was not a danger and could live with family. But her mother and brother refused, time and time again. Auguste Rodin, who she had once loved and who had profited so much from her talent, did little to help. He visited her only once. Camille Claudel died in the Monteverg's asylum in 1944 at the age of 79. She died in obscurity, buried in a communal grave. For decades, her name and her work were almost entirely forgotten. It wasn't until the 1980s that her story began to be rediscovered. Art historians, biographers, and feminists began to piece together her life and re-evaluate her incredible body of work. Exhibitions were organized, and the world finally began to see Camille Claudel not as Rodin's mistress or his mad muse, but as one of the most important and innovative sculptors of her time. Today, her surviving works are treasured in museums around the world, including the Musée Rodin and the Musée Camille Claudel in France. They stand as a testament to a talent that could not be contained, a spirit that could not be broken, and a voice that, even after decades of forced silence, finally rings out loud and clear. Her life is a tragic and powerful reminder of the cost of being a woman ahead of her time, and her art is an eternal flame of her undeniable genius. Thank you for joining us to remember the incredible life and art of Camille Claudel. If you found her story as moving as we do, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from the annals of art history.